Imagine for a moment, if you will, a world where the rules are not just absurd, but actively work against those who follow them. A place where every decision seems to lead to more chaos and despair, wrapped in a cloak of bureaucratic incompetence that defies logic. This is the grim backdrop of Joseph Heller's Catch-22, a novel that delves deep into the human condition through the lens of war and its grotesque absurdities. Our story unfolds during World War II on the fictional island of Pianosa, located off the coast of Italy. The setting is a sprawling American Army Air Force base, where the harsh realities of combat intermingle with the surreal absurdity of military bureaucracy. It's a place where pilots like our protagonist, Captain John Yossarian, find themselves in a perpetual cycle of flying dangerous missions over enemy lines while grappling with an endless stream of paperwork and pointless regulations that threaten their sanity as much as the bombs they drop. Yossarian is a complex character at the heart of this chaotic world. He's a bombardier in the 256th Squadron, haunted by a deep-seated fear of death, which stems from witnessing his friend Snowden's demise in a bombing raid. Yossarian's paranoia and anti-war sentiments are not just a reaction to his experiences, but also a coping mechanism. He refuses to comply with orders that he deems unjust or senseless, earning him the ire of higher-ups like Colonel Cathcart, who constantly raises the number of required missions to keep men like Yossarian flying. This escalating quota system becomes a symbol of the absurdity and cruelty of war, where the rules are not meant to be followed but to be manipulated for power. Contrast Yossarian with his friend and fellow bombardier Dr. Nika, who embodies the notion of Catch-22 itself. As a physician, Dr. Nika is supposed to ground pilots deemed unfit for combat due to psychological stress or illness. However, under the provisions of Catch-22, any pilot who wants to be grounded must prove he's insane, and since wanting to avoid danger is considered sane, no one can qualify. This paradoxical rule encapsulates the novel's central theme, a system that traps individuals in an endless loop of futility and despair. The base is teeming with other memorable characters, each representing different facets of human nature under extreme stress. There's Major, who bears his name twice as a sign of his incompetence and confusion, Milo Minderbinder, the unscrupulous mess officer turned black marketeer who turns a profit on everything from eggs to corpses, and the mysterious Chaplain Tapman, whose faith is tested by the horrors he witnesses. These characters are not just figments of imagination, but reflections of the absurdity and humanity that can coexist in even the most dire circumstances. The world of Catch-22 is one where logic and reason have been twisted beyond recognition, creating a surreal landscape where the line between sanity and madness blurs. It's a place where heroism and cowardice are meaningless concepts, and survival becomes an act of rebellion against a system that values lives as expendable commodities. As we delve deeper into this novel, we'll explore how these characters navigate this twisted world, grappling with their own morality in the face of such overwhelming absurdity. What makes Catch-22 so powerful is its unflinching portrayal of war's impact on the human psyche. Through Heller's satirical lens, he exposes the dark underbelly of military bureaucracy and the way it dehumanizes both soldiers and civilians. It's a story about resilience, absurdity, and ultimately, the enduring spirit of humanity in the face of overwhelming odds. So, as we embark on this journey through Pianosa, let us prepare to be challenged, entertained, and deeply moved by Joseph Heller's masterful exploration of these timeless themes. So, as we dive deeper into Catch-22, it's clear that Joseph Heller is not just telling a story about war. He's crafting an intricate tapestry of themes and conflicts that challenge our understanding of humanity, reason, and morality. At its core, the novel is a profound exploration of absurdity in a world where logic seems to have no place. The most central theme is the paradoxical concept of Catch-22 itself, a rule so convoluted that it can never be satisfied, yet serves as an unbreakable chain binding the characters to their fates. It's not just a bureaucratic loophole, it's a metaphor for the inherent absurdity and cruelty of war. No matter how many missions Yossarian flies or how much he protests, he's still bound by Catch-22, which states that any sane person would be grounded from flying, but since everyone who wants to get out of flying missions is considered insane, Yossarian is stuck in this vicious cycle. This theme of bureaucratic absurdity permeates the novel, making it a critique not just of war, but of any system that prioritizes efficiency and order over human life. Another major conflict is the struggle between individualism and conformity. Yossarian represents the lone voice of reason and humanity amidst the chaos. He refuses to fly more missions because he believes it's unethical to send men to their deaths when they've already flown enough. His motivations are pure, he wants to protect his friends, particularly Snowden, who is driven mad by a senseless bombing mission. Yossarian's actions often place him at odds with the other officers like Colonel Cathcart and General Peckham, who prioritize winning the war at any cost, regardless of human life. This conflict highlights the moral quandaries faced by soldiers in wartime. Do you follow orders blindly or stand up for what's right, even if it means risking your own safety? The theme of friendship is another crucial element that ties the novel together. Yossarian's bond with his fellow airmen, especially Dr. Nika and Snowden, becomes a source of strength amidst the chaos of war. Their camaraderie provides a counterpoint to the dehumanizing effects of military life. Dr. Nika, for example, is not just a doctor but a friend who helps Yossarian navigate the absurdities of their situation. His willingness to fake insanity or prescribe questionable medications shows his deep loyalty and sense of humor in the face of despair. However, even these bonds are tested by the harsh realities of war. Snowden's descent into madness, driven by guilt over bombing civilians, is a tragic reminder that the psychological toll of war can shatter even the strongest relationships. His fate serves as a stark warning about the moral ambiguities and psychological scars left in its wake. Heller also delves deeply into the theme of disillusionment with authority figures. Colonel Cathcart and General Peckham are portrayed not as noble leaders, but as corrupt officials more concerned with their own advancement than the welfare of their men. Their decisions often lead to senseless deaths and suffering, further highlighting the absurdity of war and the moral bankruptcy of those in power. This disillusionment extends beyond military hierarchy. It touches on society at large, questioning the legitimacy of any system that prioritizes profit and power over human dignity. Throughout the novel, Heller uses dark humor to expose these themes. The absurdity is not just in the rules or the actions of characters, but in the very nature of war itself. When Milo Minderbinder decides to monopolize supplies and sell them at inflated prices, even profiting from black markets, it's a commentary on how greed and corruption can thrive in times of chaos. His character represents the worst excesses of capitalism and the moral decay that can occur when individuals prioritize profit over human need. In essence, Catch-22 is a complex narrative that explores the depths of human experience in extremis. It challenges us to question the nature of sanity and morality, the value of individuality in the face of collective action, and the true cost of war. Through its characters, themes, and conflicts, Heller creates a powerful critique of the systems and ideologies that dehumanize individuals and prioritize abstract concepts like victory over human life. It's a book that stays with you long after the last page is turned, prompting reflection on the nature of humanity itself in the face of overwhelming adversity. As we near the end of Joseph Heller's Catch-22, the narrative reaches its crescendo with a series of events that epitomize the novel's central themes of absurdity, dehumanization, and the futility of war. The key events leading up to the climax involve Yossarian's desperate attempts to escape the insanity of his role as a bombardier during World War II. Yossarian's disillusionment with the war has been building throughout the book, but it reaches new heights when he witnesses Snowden's tragic death. Snowden, a fellow bombardier, is shot down after volunteering for one last mission. His sacrifice only serves to highlight the absurdity of a system that values pilots' lives less than their contributions to the war effort. Yossarian, having lost friends and colleagues, becomes increasingly determined to evade combat missions. He manipulates his medical records to appear insane, hoping this will get him discharged from duty. However, as much as he tries to escape, Yossarian finds himself entangled in a web of bureaucracy and corruption that seems designed to keep soldiers like him in the fight no matter what. His attempts to flee are thwarted by Colonel Cathcart, who keeps raising the number of required missions higher each time Yossarian nears completion. This relentless escalation symbolizes the absurdity of military hierarchy and the way it turns rational goals into senseless rituals. The climax of Catch-22 comes with a series of events that bring to light the dark underbelly of war and society at large. First, Snowden's replacement, McWatt, is killed in an unnecessary mission, mirroring his fate. This event pushes Yossarian over the edge, leading him to forge documents to help his fellow soldiers desert. His actions are rooted in a deep-seated belief that the system they serve is broken beyond repair and must be opposed. Yossarian's final act of defiance involves a daring escape attempt with Milo Minderbinder's flying hospital, where he plans to flee to Sweden. However, things take an unexpected turn when McWatt attempts suicide. In a moment of crisis, Yossarian shoots down his own plane, leading to a chaotic sequence of events that leaves him stranded in the Mediterranean Sea with Dobbs, his fellow bombardier. The two men are eventually rescued by Italian fishermen, marking a poignant end to their experiences as soldiers. The conclusion of Catch-22 is deeply unsettling and thought-provoking. It doesn't provide easy answers or a tidy resolution. Instead, it leaves the reader questioning the very nature of war, justice, and human resilience. Yossarian's experience, while harrowing, also offers moments of humor and humanity that remind us of our shared capacity for kindness and compassion amidst chaos. This book is essential reading not just because of its gripping plot and memorable characters, but because it challenges us to think critically about the systems we live in and how they shape our lives. It exposes the absurdities and injustices that can arise from unchecked power and bureaucracy, urging readers to question authority and advocate for a more compassionate approach to conflict resolution. In a world where war continues to be a tragic reality, Catch-22 serves as both a warning and an inspiration. It reminds us of the importance of preserving our humanity in the face of overwhelming adversity and fighting against systems that dehumanize individuals. So, whether you're a fan of classic literature or someone looking for a book that will provoke thought and discussion, Catch-22 is a must, read that continues to resonate with readers decades after its publication.